Hey, everyone.
Hi, everybody. I'm Colby Frey.
And I'm Ashley.
We're the founders at Frey Ranch here in Fallon, Nevada. It all started, my family's been farming in Nevada since 1854, and I'd always wanted to be a farmer, and we were looking for ways to showcase the grains that we'd always grown on the farm for 165 plus years. Mm-hmm. So we created what we call the whiskey farm. We grow all of our grains for a specific purpose, which is to become whiskey. We're in Fallon, Nevada, which is the oasis of Nevada. And so we have an abundance of water that comes from the Sierra Mountains. We call it that beautiful Sierra snowmelt. And so it comes from the Truckee and the Carson rivers from both sides of Lake Tahoe to a reservoir where we get all of our beautiful water for the ranch here. And that was really the inspiration behind the ranch is taking the crops that we're growing and creating something special out of them. So
today we're going to taste through our bourbon and rye. And if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and leave it in the comment box and we'll come back and answer them for you guys.
Yeah.
But we're hoping to hop on the YouTube live about once a month, answer any questions and give you guys a sneak peek on what's going on the ranch. I know we've had a really nice winter so far. December was super wet out here, but if you guys are following the news at all, January was like the driest January on record for like 100 years. So really hoping for more precipitation in the mountains
But we're lucky. We're lucky because that was just following the wettest December on record. Yeah. So luckily for that, we have a little bit of snow back in the mountains, but we could definitely use some more. We're hoping for some more rain or snow up in the mountains so we can get that beautiful water down here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we've just been enjoying the sun.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice on the farm right now. We're all of our crops are planted, the wheat, rye, and barley, except for the corn we'll plant in May. That's a spring crop that we always plant. But the wheat, rye, and barley are doing great. And we just had about 2,000 sheep on the farm that were here grazing the crops throughout the winter. I think they're leaving any day now. So,
when do they get sheared?
Oh, not for another month or so. Yeah,
super cute.
Yeah. So we're going to do a tasting. Do you want to show them the bottle first, Ash?
So today we're going to start with the bourbon, and I've got our Frey Ranch bourbon. This is our 4-grain mash bill. It's our flagship product. It's a 90 proof. We landed on 90 proof here at the ranch when we tasted through all the bourbons. We really liked the way it tasted right at 90, very approachable for cocktails and also for whiskey explorers who are really learning what they like in a whiskey. And we have the 4 grains, and actually I've got this fun little mash bill for you guys to see, mash bill bottle. And this shows the corn, the barley, the rye, and then the wheat up here, which is really fun to look at all the different grains. 100% were grown right here on the farm.
I like to tell everybody this is like the do-it-yourself whiskey bottle right here. It's essentially a bottle of whiskey. It just hasn't been processed yet.
So I've got my bourbon pre-poured here. And cheers. One of my favorite things about our whiskeys, you can really taste through all 4 grains. Right on the nose, I get some of the sweetness from the corn. So I get some creme brulee, butterscotch, maple syrup. I even get some like chocolate covered bananas, which are great. I get a really nice creamy viscosity on the front of the palate, which we attribute back to the wheat. And then a nice pop of rye spice, the back of the palate, which is not too overpowering, but really nice and lingering finish. What do you think? What are you picking up today?
No, that was our goal, is to have a 4-grain. We have wheat, rye, barley, and corn. And we really, like I said earlier, we really want to showcase the grains that we're growing. And we found out relatively early that we really like the 4-grain because you can really get that creaminess from the wheat and the spice from the rye. Mm-hmm. And all 4 grains together really contribute and really marry well to make a really balanced, whiskey at the end.
Yeah, and all of our bourbon is aged for an average of 5 years, which basically means that it was about 4.7 to 5.3 years old when we start pulling them down from the racks. We do about 100 barrels per batch, and they're anywhere between 4.7 to 5.3 years old. We've used 2 cooperages so far, which Barrel 53 and ISC, and I don't know which one I like better.
They're both really good in different ways.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. one of the other products that we have is a single barrel version that is also at cask strengths, but it's very hard to get. It seems like it sells out fast when it gets in the store. So if anybody sees that, definitely get one up. You want to taste the rye?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pour my rye over here. So excited to share our rye whiskey with you guys today too. This is a bottled and bond, and it is 100 proof, aged for 5 years. And what I love about this rye is that on the mash bill, it's actually 100% rye as the grain. So do you want to talk about how that works in the distillery and the fermentation on it?
Rye is a giant pain to make in the distillery. I mean, the reason is there's these polymers in rye that are really slimy. And so it's really difficult because during fermentation, it's creating CO2. The yeast creates CO2. It creates alcohol also is what we're looking for. But when the rye is really slimy, the bubbles from the CO2 can't go up to the top of the tank and basically dissipate out. So it actually expands in volume as we're distilling it. And so it's really interesting and kind of fun to make rye, but I can see why bourbon is so much more prevalent in the market because it's so much easier to make and everything. But our rye got double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. It got the top 10 in the fall 2020 Whiskey Advocate Buying Guide, which was a huge honor. My favorite thing I ever saw was an advertisement or maybe it was a social media post that they posted that said, our top 10 whiskeys hail from Kentucky, Tennessee, Nevada, Scotland, and Ireland. And I thought, how cool is that to have Nevada next to all these other whiskey growing regions and countries that have had hundreds of years to get their act together, whereas we're farmers and we're able to be amongst them.
Yeah, goes to the testament that with better inputs and better grains, you get better outputs. And we're starting with a cleaner, purer spirit before we even put it in the barrel. So, let's go through some of the tasting notes on the rye. Like I said, 100% rye on the mash bill. So you would think that it has a lot of spice to it, but it actually doesn't. I'm getting a lot of what my favorite note is on the nose, the bazooka bubble gum. I even get a little bit of honey.
You rarely get it, and I get it on the palate, but I get mint sometimes.
Like a dried mint or like a
spearmint.
A spearmint. Yeah. Really approachable at 100 proof as well.
Yeah, I like to call this a sipping rye. So some ryes are so spicy and flavorful that you have to mix them, or in my opinion, they're better in cocktails. Whereas this one you can drink just neat.
Yeah,
sip it on the front porch.
Very cool. So I thought that we would end today just by going through some of the fun things that we've got coming up here at the ranch. I know that really excited to share March through Mother's Day. We're going to be running a Women Plus Whiskey campaign. I'm personally very excited about all the activities we're going to have going on. Join our email list. We will be doing some fun releases in the tasting room, so you're going to want to be the first to know on those. And then why don't you talk about some of the other fun releases we've got?
Yeah, so we're going to have everybody get ready. We're going to have a single barrel rye coming up, barrel proof. So we're really excited that we'll release that in the ranch sometime in late spring, maybe early summer.
We haven't set a date yet.
Yeah, so we're excited for that. So if anybody hasn't joined our email list yet, join the email list because that's where we'll announce it. You can get that on freyranch.com. Usually there's a pop-up right there. We try not to be too spammy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's fun. We still have a little bit of our oat and wheat whiskey available in the tasting room here. They're 100% oat, 100% wheat. That's from our series that we call our single grain series, so that you can actually taste what the actual grain tastes like. And so it's really fun because you don't, there's no other grain in there that's you're wondering what flavor is this contributing or this other grain contributing. So that's really fun. We have other whiskeys in the pipeline. So this year, I think we'll release a malt series. So they're malted grains. We also malt right here on the farm. So we have all kinds of different malted series, some smoked series, all kinds of fun stuff in the pipeline.
Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in today, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button. And excited to see you guys next month.
Thank you guys. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye, Ryan.
Bye, guys.